Party people! This is bad. Are you guys ready to talk about the airport? As someone who flies pretty frequently, sometimes I feel like I live at the airport, which is okay with me because I actually really like the airport. But if you don't know how to navigate the airport in an effective manner, it can feel like a gigantic pain in the butt. And that is what we're here to avoid. So today I'm going to be sharing with you my top 15 airport and airplane tips that have helped me get in the door, get through security, chilling at my gate, and actually enjoying my flight. So let us jump straight into it. So number one, know your airline's terminal at the airport ahead of time. So this is really important because not all airports are the same. So if they're not the same, then that means the layout is gonna be completely different. You have smaller airports like New York City's LaGuardia Airport, which everything is under one roof. It's pretty small. It's really easy to navigate. But then you have another airport like Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson Airport, which is one of the largest airports in the world, and it's huge. So getting from point A to point B may take you longer than expected. Some airports don't always have their terminals under one roof. Some of them separate them. For example, Barcelona's Prat Airport. In that airport, you've got two terminals. You've got Terminal 1 and Terminal 2, and there are different airlines in each one. So you need to know which terminal you're flying out of before you get there, or you're gonna end up at the wrong terminal, have to add another 20 to 45 minutes onto your travel time, which you probably could use. Another reason why knowing exactly which terminal you're flying out of at the airport is useful is because if you're taking a rideshare service, public transportation, an Uber, a friend is dropping you off, it becomes so much easier to let them know exactly where to drop you off at. If you don't know where to find this information, don't worry. You can start by checking your ticket. Sometimes they put on the ticket which terminal you're flying out of. If you don't see it there, a quick Google search will probably give you what you need. Each airport's website normally has a airline list or a terminal map to let you know which airline flies out of which terminal. Okay, so this kind of goes into my second tip, which is to know how you're gonna navigate the airport before you get there. So remember what I was just saying about every airport being different and each layout being different? Some of these larger airports require that you take an air train between gates. And if you don't know that information, you could potentially be wasting a ton of time trying to figure out how to get to your gate. Number three, get there early. I know. I don't understand why you would want to stress yourself out that way. That's just, I don't understand that. Y'all, just get there early. I mean, really, most travel experts would say domestic flights, get there 2 hours early. International flights, get there 3 hours early. And I gotta say, I completely agree. Early bird gets the worm. It's just how it is. I just feel like getting to the airport early is just going to save you a ton of unnecessary stress. I mean, there have been so many flights where I've been this close to missing it simply because I've gotten there a little bit later than I wanted to. I remember one time being in Barcelona and I was flying to London and I wasn't as early as I wanted to be, but I still had time. I go through the first part of security, but then I totally forgot. There's another security that you have to go through to get into the UK. And so I'm going through security, I'm chilling, I'm feeling good, I'm living my best life. I turn the corner and I'm like, oh, no. Are you kidding me? I had to wait in another security line to go through some kind of clearance. I almost didn't make it. I'm just saying, get there early. I mean, delays happen all the time. Flight cancellations happen all the time. Security lines are backed up a lot of the time. Just get there early. Get there early, friend. And you don't have to stress. So in order to get checked in and get to security right away, you need to know your airline's luggage rules. So it's important to know TSA's general rules, no liquids over 3 ounces, this is what you can bring, this is what you can't bring, but it's also really important to know the airline that you're flying with's individual luggage rules. Some of them have a certain weight limit for carry-on versus check. Some of them will weigh your items together, your personal item plus your carry-on, or certain dimensions. Some of those airlines have those little like crate things and you have to take your suitcase and stuff it inside, and if it doesn't fit, they make you check it. You always want to read the fine print so you don't get hit with surprise charges. That happened to me one time. An airline that I used to fly with all the time, don't worry, I still fly with them, stuck me with a surprise charge of $75. $75. I could do a lot with $75. So here's what happened. So I can't even say that it was a surprise charge really at the end of the day because I failed to read the fine print. So I'm there standing in line, waiting to check my bag. So then all of a sudden the guy's like, put your carry-on on the scale. I put my carry-on on the scale. Then he goes, your backpack, put your backpack on the scale. And I'm like, huh? My backpack? What's my backpack got to do with this? I put it on the scale and then he goes, so the combined weight for carry-on luggage and personal item need to be this number and you're exceeded that number, so it's gonna be $75. Huh? This has never happened to me before. Never make assumptions. Just because you flied with this airline before and they always let you bend the rules doesn't mean that you're gonna come across an agent that's gonna let you do it. He didn't care. He still charged me $75. Always read the fine print. Always know the rules and do not make assumptions. Which goes into my next tip. Weigh your bag ahead of time. Yeah, so ever since that time, I always weigh my bags. So in order to avoid unexpected charges from your airline and to get through check-in as fast as possible, I suggest knowing your airline's rules and weighing your bag ahead of time. I love, love, love these little luggage weights. I almost never leave on a trip without it, even if I'm doing carry-on only, because you just never know. You can attach them to your luggage, lift up, and it will tell you exactly how much your bag weighs. They're really fantastic for international flights because you can know how much your bag weighs before your trip, how many things you can buy to return home with, but then still be within that weight limit of your airline. They're just fantastic. I love them. I love them. I love them. I highly recommend them. They're not that expensive either. Another thing you can do is take your regular scale, step on the scale without your bag, then step on the scale holding your bag and subtract your weight from the weight with the bag. Sometimes it's not as accurate as using one of those baggage scales. It does a trick. Okay, so you didn't hear this from me, but I have done this before. So I have a little hack, but I've gotten away with it a few times. I don't know if it's gonna work for you, so don't. But if you're coming home from a trip and you feel like you have too many things and you don't want to get rid of anything, find a bag that looks like a duty-free bag, put a couple of things in there, and pretend like you bought some things from the duty-free shops at the airport. I know this is technically a lie, but I've done it a few times and it has worked for me. Sorry, airport. Don't be mad at me. Okay, moving on. Have photo and video documentation of your luggage. So if you check a bag or you have a carry-on luggage that you've been forced to check, it goes through a lot of hands before it gets back to you. Having very detailed video and photo documentation of your luggage is gonna come in really handy in case you lose your luggage or it's damaged or something has been stolen from your luggage. So you're gonna wanna take photos of your luggage from different angles and also mark down and note any eye-catching details or unique features. So along with video and photos, I would also write down a short yet detailed description of your bag. And another good idea is before your trip, lay everything out that's going into your bag and take a photo of it. And also write it down in your description. It's really gonna help your airline find your luggage that much faster. It's a good idea to keep these photos and videos on a zip drive or in a folder. Just keep it on you so it's really accessible while you're traveling. Also, don't forget to include things like size, color, brand. Make sure your luggage is tagged and recognizable. Even though airlines are getting better and better at retrieving lost luggage, any traveler can tell you, standing there and waiting for your checked bag, watching all the bags just go round and round on the conveyor belt is the most anxious, nerve-wracking experience. So to reduce some of the anxiety of losing your luggage or not being able to identify it, you wanna make sure it's tagged and it's recognizable. You wanna make sure you have a luggage tag. Luggage tags have really come a long way. There are some really cool digital ones that you can buy, and I'll link them down below. On your luggage tag, you wanna make sure it's legible and it's clear. I like to put my name, my email address, and my phone number. If you can avoid putting your address, I would. Now, if you feel comfortable putting your address, then please by all means go ahead. You can also use a work address if you feel more comfortable getting that information out. Also, I try to make sure my luggage tag has a cover on it just so there's no one like you know, peeping over to see my business. But you also want to make sure that your bag is recognizable. You can buy a brightly colored suitcase. I know a lot of people say, don't buy a black suitcase. Well, I like a black suitcase, okay? What I love to do with my suitcases is I sometimes tie a little ribbon or a bow or something on it. Make sure it's really tight because you don't want it coming off just really tight to one of the handles. And that's one of the things that I kind of look for when my bag is going around on the conveyor belt. Use TSA approved luggage locks. I always encourage people to lock their bags. So having a locked luggage not only makes it a little bit more difficult for people who are eyeing your luggage to get in there, it's also really good for when you're staying in a shared space, a hostel or an Airbnb. To protect your stuff, just throw a lock on it. Now the thing is, you can't just throw any old lock. You need to use a TSA approved lock. My favorite brand is Master Lock, and I'll link them down below. Now, throwing a lock on your luggage does not mean that there's a 100% guarantee that your stuff's not gonna get stolen or someone's not gonna steal your bag or whatever. It does make me feel a little bit more secure, and I do feel like it decreases my chances of being a target. TSA has a master key that opens all TSA approved locks. They need to check or search your luggage for any reason. They'll take the lock off, they'll search it, they'll put the lock back on, and you're on your way. If you don't have a TSA approved lock on your luggage, they'll cut it and then bye-bye lock. I tend to lose things, so I personally like the combination kind, but they also have key kinds. They also have suitcases now that come equipped with a TSA approved lock on it. You know, away suitcases always have a TSA approved lock on there. If you don't want to go out of your way to buy an additional lock, definitely pick up one of these suitcases that already has a lock on there, and then you're good to go. Be ready to go through security. Y'all, one of the simplest things that you can do to get through security quickly is to be ready when you get there. So when you see that you're inching closer and closer to the front of the line, have everything ready. Make sure you don't have any liquids. Empty out that water bottle. Make sure your laptop and other electronics are stored in an easy access space. Make sure you've got your boarding pass out and your ID or passport. Also want to make sure you're wearing no fuss shoes that you can easily slip off through security and slip them right back on when you're done. Double check your gate number. So gate information is one of the most likely things to get changed at the last minute. So to avoid accidentally missing your flight or ending up at the wrong gate, you want to make sure you are constantly checking your gate number and you know exactly which gate you need to get to. A lot of airline apps now will update their gate information in real time, so you can always check the gate information through your airline's app. I always like to check those big screens. You can see them right when you come out of security, they're there. And then throughout the gates, there are these little checkpoints where those departure screens and arrival screens will be, and that's where you can check your gate. This is also going to be really important because if you're a peruser and you love to go to the newsstands, walk around, grab a bite to eat, have a glass of wine, do your thing, no problem, but you want to make sure you're being updated with the gate information so that you're going to the right place when it's time to check in. Also, a good idea is to set an alarm in your phone for boarding time. If you're American, consider using TSA Precheck or Global Entry. So I just recently got Global Entry. And I don't know what I was doing with my life before I got it. I really don't. It is the best thing ever. TSA and Global Entry are two different things. Global Entry comes with TSA Precheck, but TSA Precheck does not come with Global Entry. So what are they? The way that I like to look at it is, so TSA Precheck is kind of like a security fast pass, expedited security screening for flights departing the US. And Global Entry is kind of like this security fast pass plus customs for international flights. It's so awesome. So when you have TSA Precheck, you go through a separate security line. You don't have to take off your shoes. You don't have to take out your electronics. You don't have to take off your jacket. You can just go straight through the line because you've already done that pre-screening. I'm telling you guys, every single time I go through TSA Precheck nowadays, I feel like royalty. Is this how some people live their life? My God, it's amazing. So TSA Precheck costs $85, Global Entry costs $100, and they last for 5 years. 5 years, you guys. So if you are frequent flyers, if you travel often, I would highly suggest getting TSA Precheck or Global Entry. If you fly a lot internationally, go for it. All you need to do is fill out the application and pay the fee, have a background check, and then have an interview. Pack a snack. Airport food and airline food are really expensive and they're not that great. If you have time, pack a snack. There's so many different things you can pack that are TSA compliant. Some of my favorite things that I love to pack is I'll bake a whole sweet potato and bring that on a flight. I'll bring pasta, sandwiches, crackers, hummus, popcorn, last night's dinner. The only thing I would say is I would avoid anything that's too smelly. have a separate space in your bag for in-flight essentials. So I love bringing a ton of activities and lots of little things to do when I'm on a flight, and I like to keep some of these things kind of separate. I love keeping all of my in-flight essentials in my backpack. I also have a small away kind of hard case mini luggage that I like to leave a couple of other things that I like to have with me on my flight. And in here, I just keep a lot of doodads, try to keep all of my entertainment in one section. Sometimes in my laptop case, I'll put magazines, articles that I want to read, keep all that stuff into one little space. It's also really great because sometimes when you're on the plane and it's dark and you don't really want to turn on the light, you know where everything is. It's your water bottle, all that stuff. Instead of separating them and having some in my carry-on, and then you have to open the overhead compartment, pull your carry-on luggage down, unzip it, it's a whole mess. And I prefer just not to deal with that. I like to have everything just in my backpack, under my seat. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Bring your own entertainment. This is actually why I kind of like long flights, because I just love getting all these activities done. I love to stack things on things of things to do. I love it so much. I'll do almost anything on a plane. I'll budget, I'll read. You could do a vision board. It is so fun. My last airport tip and airplane hack is to always have the address of where you're staying in your destination ready and available. This is a great tip, particularly for international travel, because you're gonna have to fill out a customs card on the plane, and you want to have the address of where you're staying ready and available so you can fill out that customs card with ease. That is it, y'all. These are the tips that help me get through the airport really quickly and also really enjoy my flight. Let me know down below your favorite airport tip or airline hack. If you really liked this video, please go ahead and give it a like. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and follow me on Instagram. We have a lot of fun over there. Hit that notification bell so you know when I have a new upload, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.